Hi guys, welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday. It's Tuesday, September 30th, 2014. This is Jennifer. So I have a couple of fun things to share with you guys today. Right off the top, tomorrow is October 1st, so that means a new paper piecing vintage pattern. It will be the 10th block of the month for paper piecing vintage, and this is the pattern for this month. It is called, I think I called it Round the Log Cabin, maybe? I have to look at my notes again. I'm pretty sure it's Round the Log Cabin. Anyway, so you get this pattern in 6 inches and 12 inches, and just like I mentioned last week, you get all of these patterns too, plus you get a signature block, you get an extra pineapple block, you get a bonus block that I think was maybe August, and there might be another bonus coming up, plus there will be piecing instructions to make a quilt out of both the 6-inch blocks and the 12-inch blocks, each separately, not together, though you could do that too if you wanted to. So anyway, that's Paper Piecing Vintage. There's a link in the description, so just if you're not signed up and you want to join, go ahead and jump in. And we have a Facebook group where we have some pretty awesome supportive people sharing their pictures and cheering each other on as we work our way through the year. So I had a much more productive week last week in the physical world. I am still updating patterns, and I've done another, I think, 20 Harry Potter patterns or so. You can look for those on Sew Hooked under Harry Potter or on Fandom and Stitches. If you want to see which ones are actually updated, I would recommend hitting Sew Hooked under Harry Potter, because those actually have a note that say updated 2014, and that is not on Fandom and Stitches. So anyway, I'm working my way through. I'm about halfway through supplies, supplies, spells, and magical objects. So I'm about halfway through that. And I will continue to update those until I've updated everything. My goal is to have everything in a post-2010 format, which is just a cleaner, easier to read format. I've actually redesigned a couple of things entirely because I looked at them and I thought, you know, I've never really liked this, so I'm just going to do it from scratch. So a few of the patterns are going to be brand new, and I will, once I get those done, I'll write a big post and I'll share the ones that are brand new. I especially like the sorting hat pattern that I just finished, which is an updated version of my older one. But anyway, that is all going to be updated this week. Those are patterns I've been working on the last couple of days. The other thing that I've been working on, I mentioned last week that the Linus Connection, the nonprofit organization that I volunteer for, we are really short on larger quilts and blankets. So I've been pushing really hard to finish all the things that I had in progress. We're especially in need of boy and gender neutral blankets and quilts, so basically something that could go to a boy or a girl, but most especially to a more masculine sort of a theme, just because we've been super short on that. We've had a lot of pink and a lot of really girly kind of princessy stuff, so what we really need are bigger gender neutral and boy blanket. So over the weekend I basted, free motion quilted, and bound 2 quilt tops that I made at a Linus Workday. So this is the first one, and I'm gonna hang these on the design wall, but I just want to show you a little bit of the free motion. I just do a big meander all over this quilt. You can actually see it, I think, a little better on the back. It's just a really big squiggly line that goes all over the quilt. Then I bound it in this striped fabric that I had in my stash, and I really like the way it came out. And this is this goes back to the tutorial I did on binding, machine binding and top stitching on the front. So that's how I did that. You can barely, there you go, there you can see the stitches now. You can also see where I sewed my Linus label on, which is what those 2 lines are right there. But anyway, that's my binding that I did for this quilt. This one is obviously could go boy or girl. It's very gender neutral. This is all just animals, and it's cutesy, and it is appropriate for probably an older elementary age child, which is one of the age ranges that we're needing. This is a much more girly type quilt. This was the brick pattern from Linus, and I just set them a little bit differently, plus I did a long border on each side just to make it a little wider. I was going to try to show you the quilting, as you can see it here. This is a pieced back. On this one I did it a little differently. Instead of doing big loops, I sort of did almost like waves. I guess I did just sort of a back and forth all the way across. So you can kind of see it's sort of a water kind of thing going on. this fabric here and this fabric came from the traveling swap box. I also finished the rectangle granny yan that I started a few weeks ago. I think I showed you guys how I started that in the center by, I chained 12, and then instead of making a loop, I make my granny center around that. I don't have a pattern or anything, it's just a thing that I do. Anyway, it makes a rectangle, and this is that blanket, and it is teen size. This is a nice big granny yan. You can see my arms are stretched out here. This is a yarn that I bought. This yarn came from my friend Janice, and this yarn came from Joel68. I almost started to go a little bit further, but I was running out of yarn, and I decided to I just did a single crochet in the back loop all the way around. And like all of my granny squares and my granny afghans, I flip every round. I turn my work so that there isn't a front or a back. So this is a front and this is a back, so that every other one is a front or a back, so that you don't have a really distinguished front or back of the afghan. That way it's totally reversible. While I was working on finishing up all these quilts and blankets this weekend, I was cleaning out looking for something, and I came across my bag of fleece scraps. And I've used most of my fleece up in various projects over the years, and I don't really buy fleece anymore because I don't particularly need it for anything. So I took all these fleece scraps and realized at some point I had cut them all into 12.5-inch chunks. So I trimmed down whatever was not straight, and I figured out a layout more or less, and I serged them all together. This is every piece of fleece I had. It's all gone now. I don't have any more fleece, and it made just a colorful little baby blanket. So you can see the back. This is the opposite side from where I serged. So here's the serged side. I just used a black, actually, yeah, this is a black thread. So I just serged it all together. I serged the edges, and then I used a little fray blocker, I think is what I used on all of the joins, just to make sure that none of the stitching will come out. And this one is actually baby sized because that's all that I had, but all of my fleece scraps are used up, and this project took me maybe 20 minutes. So that's one more blanket for Linus, and all of my fleece scraps are used up, and that clears up a space on my shelf. I do have one more Linus top that needs quilting. I thought I was completely out of batting, but I did unearth another bag of Linus batting, so I'm going to go through that today and see if I can probably maybe Frankenstein enough batting to have enough to finish that quilt up. Both of these were quilted with Frankenstein batting, which is basically just batting pieces that I have cut and zigzag together so that it makes enough for a quilt. Once it's quilted and it's washed, it's not a problem, especially if you zigzag that batting together first. There's also a batting sort of a seam tape that you can iron on, but I do this so much that it's not practical for me to buy something like that, so I just zigzag it all together. Last but absolutely not least, I have closed the poll for the Talk to Me Tuesday swap. You will be receiving your partners today or tomorrow at the latest. We had 9 people sign up, which is a really good turnout. I will also be accepting new members now on Talk to Me Tuesday, and I apologize to those of you that had to wait. Talk to Me Tuesday swap is coming. You guys look for your partners. All the description of what you need to do is in there, and this is a secret partner swap. There are 9 of us, and I will be selecting partners for everyone separately, so you will not be receiving from the person you are making for. I will be giving you, there is a deadline, and I will include all of that information in your message. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Just send me a PM or an email or whatever. I'm super easy to find. And I think that's it for this week. Don't forget Paper Piecing Vintage October goes live tomorrow. And this is just a reminder that I am giving away a copy of Monster Madness, which is a pattern set that I designed that's all classic monsters, done Sunbonnet Sue style. And in order to be entered to win that, you just make any project from Sew Hooked, either pattern, tutorial, whatever, post it in my Sew Hooked Flickr group, and you will be entered to win. And I do that sort of to encourage you to share your pictures with Flickr so that I can post them on Sew Hooked, because that way I can share what projects you're making that are from my patterns. I am going to go and get this edited, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye. And I think that's going to be it. My stomach is growling and it's only like 9:56 in the morning, so that's not good. Okay, so that's beside the point.